everybody, what's going on? So recently I've been rereading and I've been rewatching One Piece, and surprisingly this is actually the first time I've rewatched it since I was like a little kid. When I was little, it came on the TV all the time and that's just kind of what I went with. It'd restart on like 4Kids all the time, which was like the crappiest version, but I still loved it. And I watched it on like Toonami for years when it would come up, and then it'd like reboot and then like stop again and start again at different spots. But I'm rewatching it, and it made me realize that Oda dropped a lot of hints about where the treasure of MARIEJOIS is, and I figured I'd attempt to piece them together and tell you guys and show you guys all about it. So without further ado, let's start. Let's start with the biggest piece of information we've been given, Doflamingo's comment in chapter 761. So Doflamingo says, "If only I'd had the Opi Opi no Mi, I would have been able to use the treasure to rule the world." What is Dofi trying to say? His words mean that the power granted by the Opi Opi fruit are crucial to using it. Specifically, he says the personality switching operation and the immortality operation powers granted by it. With this, it makes you wonder and it makes you ponder a little bit and makes you ask, why would those be useful to using the treasure? It wouldn't make any sense unless the treasure is some sort of biological thing, since the Opi Opi no Mi's powers are surgery based. Now I also understand that when Law's using his abilities, he's like able to, change things like cannonballs and inanimate objects, but his powers are specifically designed towards biological things. And let's keep going. So let's hold on to that thought. Let's go into chapter 906. We get a glimpse of the treasure in this panel. And this is the panel where Im-sama is walking into the chambers and we see the giant straw hat. Now the giant straw hat makes no sense. Why would the treasure be a hat? It brings up more questions and answers nothing. Well, Oda is a master of misdirection. I don't think the treasure is a hat at all. I think the hat is marking the treasure. In actuality, I think the treasure is the corpse of a certain somebody who wore the hat. Look, where the hat is being kept, it's in a freezer. The only other time we've ever seen corpses in storage was on Thriller Bark, and what would you know, the corpses there were frozen too. You can see the same sort of frozen shading on oars in comparison to this. Now, one of the unsolved mysteries we still have in the Marineford War was why Doflamingo was ordered to kill Moria. Doflamingo said he was ordered by someone higher up than Sengoku, implying that the Gorosei, or even Im-sama, wanted him dead. Now we see when he failed, the representatives in the Holy Land were extremely worried, calling it no laughing matter. Why would the world government care about one of the warlords so much? I think I know. It's because Moria is the only other person we've seen so far who can manipulate corpses. This idea would fit in with the powers Doflamingo described. The personality switching operation would allow him to transfer himself into the corpse, and the immortality operation would allow him to live forever as that person. As we saw when Nami and Sanji switch bodies, strength is indeed determined by the body, not the soul. We see Nami, we see her that she was able to tank hits and commented on how surprisingly little damage she took, while his Skywalk did a lot of damage to her body. Thus, a strong body would be a powerful weapon, given that you had the same way to utilize it, or some way to utilize it. Given that the Straw Hat is the marker, what Im is looking at could potentially be the tomb of GOL D. Roger. It would make sense. The Marines were the ones to execute him, so they would have his body. We know that, thanks to Moria, that bodies can be reanimated, so the government would likely hold onto the corpse. There isn't enough info to say it is for sure the corpse of Goldie Roger though. It could be anyone who wore the straw hat, maybe someone for the Void Century like Joy Boy. All I'm saying is that it's somebody of incredible power. Let's look at another thing Doflamingo said in chapter 906. He says, Isn't it okay to reveal what the treasure is? Power degrades quickly. It rots away in no time. Could it be Doflamingo is dropping us a hint that the treasure itself rots away in no time? I'd venture to say yes. The thing is, in the freezer where Eam is, there isn't just one of these tombs. There's a light to the center one where the straw hat is, but there's also other ones. Perhaps they've collected bodies of leaders of the ancient kingdom or various strong pirates throughout the ages. Could the world government have been amassing an army of strong bodies? Is that why they made Moria a warlord, knowing he would fight on their side of any conflict? Perhaps once they saw Moria was too weak to defend himself, they sent out the order to kill him, not wanting his fruit to fall into the hands of someone else. Some of you are probably thinking this makes Moria too important to the story, but I don't think his power is the only one that can control bodies. We already know that the Opi Opi no fruit could also be used for a singular body, and I think it's likely that the government, maybe even Eam himself, has a power to manipulate the bodies. I just think Moria was just a loose end and was able to control bodies, and they made him a warlord, then tried to kill him to tie up the loose end. Unfortunately for the government, it looks like Moria's powers have fallen into the hands of Blackbeard.